the customer in the metaverse. And it offers a lot of possibilities, because in the metaverse, and it's very related to what is happening today in the world from a human and a social point of view. In the metaverse, you can be whoever you want. You can build your avatar as you want. And this, if we think carefully, this removes a lot of barriers that we have in the physical world. Mental barriers, social issues, and so on. Those are removed. It's a different dimension with different rules. And this can offer a lot of opportunities to establish new relationships and to make the relationships, more fair, more equal, and, to treat people in general. Maybe I'm becoming now a bit too philosophical, but I believe in what I'm saying, to really bring the human relationships to this level where, discrimination does not exist per se, because you're just looking to an avatar, and behind the avatar, there is a person. And you are not looking at all the social barriers that we have built over the centuries, that today we are still fighting for. So, and I think as brands, we need to integrate into that as well.
Yeah, and I can create my own persona. I'm in charge of it, and I choose the way I interact with the world.
And I put just to finalize, I put a very simple example, which is that some people, for example, when they go to buy clothes, for them it's a strong experience, in the sense that they don't like to the experience of making testing the clothes. They maybe they are not comfortable with their own body. So having this experience, translating this experience into the metaverse and combining with augmented reality and so on, it can really smooth out a lot of interactions between brands and customers. So sorry about the interruption.
No problem at all. Sylvain, I have a friend. Obviously, I can't say his name, but he's probably the most or one of the most prominent family in France in antique market, and he is very much against any evolution in the tech world. I mean, the best way I can trigger a very intense argument with him is by mentioning blockchain or crypto or anything technological, because he considers this as a threat to his very reputable, prestigious, established business. Okay, and then you, as one of the most respected contemporary art investor and collector in the world, you seem to be taking things very differently. Would you mind explaining why? Why aren't you afraid? You should be afraid.
I will give an advice to your friend. He should look at the film The Leopard of Visconti. And there is a sentence in this film: if you want things to stay the same, you have to change everything. And the leopard is a very good example of the death of a certain world and the birth of another world. So I really, and he could also go and see Jurassic Park, and perhaps it will inspire him to look at the world in 2021 and not just to look at the world that he wants to be. Okay, this is my first, reaction to what you said. I think that once again, we have to try to understand the time in which we are living, and the time in which we are living are very, very different from the times that we used to live in. First, we live in times of uncertainties. Nobody's capable to have a vision in 2031. Nobody. Nobody's having a vision in the next 6 months, I shall even say. First, this is the idea of uncertainty. But on the other hand, it's in the Middle Ages was called the terra incognita. It means that you can also find gold, but also black swans. So I think that this is the first idea. The other idea is, once again, you cannot, I shall say, compare things which are not comparable. You know, the biggest mistake which was done with the COVID is that everybody went online and tried to replicate the offline online. But when you are online, you have to create new types of experiences. And I give you a very good example. Take the concert of Ariana Grande on Fortnite. Look at how many millions of people have looked at this concert.
Yeah.
And the concert was not just Ariana Grande singing, it was much more than that. And so if you don't understand that going into living into this new world called the metaverse is something different, I think you will miss something. But what is most important for me, and I was listening to Vladimir, you know, we know each other for a long time, and I really have a lot of respect for you, really. I think that you are one of the person who was really always pushing the boundaries. But I'm listening to you, I'm a little bit afraid. Afraid because there is no regulation. Afraid that, you know, in the real world, there is a government, there is laws, the government can be, you know, changed in democracy. Who is going to rule the metaverse? Are the big GAFA going to rule the metaverse? So, you know, when you tell me about this money, $2 million, $3 million, it's okay. I'm happy for the people who have this $3 million to put it on NFT. But are you sure that what they are doing is safe and secure? How you, Solana, can you tell to the people that what they are doing is safe and secure?
It's not.
This is the real question, not just to be at home, but also to make people feel happy with what they are doing and give them the confidence that what they are doing is relevant for the present and the future. And if you don't look at the metaverse through these very simple ways, I think that you will miss what's happening today in the human being, in how the humanity is changing.
I mean, I had a question about regulation and especially on data privacy. That was my next point. But I mean, Vitomir, if you want to address that now, feel free to do so.
Oof. These are all. I mean, okay. So first, let me tell you one more thing that I didn't say. We are the first NFT protocol because we are building a protocol on Solana network. And we are the first marketplace, what we know of in the whole world, that is offering integration or what we call embedding of license agreements inside of the NFTs, the first ones. And people are, you know, kind of, they're questioning, like, why are you doing this? Like, what is it? They don't even think about it. The whole point here is that when you buy an NFT, you're buying a hash in a blockchain. And legal rights are never defined, or agreements or copyrights or anything. So we are trying to change the game here by putting the legal agreement inside of the NFT so that the buyer and the seller knows exactly, you know, what the transaction actually looks like. Like what rights do I get when I buy an NFT? Can I print it? Can I earn money from it? Or can I use it privately? Or can I publish it, you know, or exhibit it publicly in a virtual gallery or a real gallery? We define these rights finally, and we enable people to put them inside of the NFTs. And this is just the first step towards a much more complex solution that should incorporate kind of putting regulation, protection, basically protection inside of this wild, wild west or jungle of what is going on in the metaverse. But have in mind, we cannot sit down and expect that these things will happen. Someone needs to do them. It's a manual labor, and also a labor of the brain, or how do you want to say, mental labor, because we need to see what is currently happening. We need to define the problems. We need to try to find out solutions. We cannot find the right solution in the first moment. We need to reiterate solutions, and really fast, because these things are super fast. You cannot imagine what happens in 2 weeks.
Vladimir, if I can just say something.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. First, what you're doing is called the smart contract. And I think that other people are using smart contract. And this is not something very new in terms of NFT. But the real problem is not here. Once you have a smart contract, how you can use it in terms of defend it, how you can go in front of which court, what do you have physically that you can go and say, this person has shown me something, and in a court, defend your case. Because at this moment, you are not the platform recognized by the whole world like the other platform. Nobody is recognized. And tomorrow you can disappear, the other can disappear. So we are at a time, as you said, a little bit like the Far West. So what I say, you have to do what you're doing because you are pushing the boundaries, and we need people like you. But also, you have to say to the people, like we say in the financial, today the biggest problem is that the art world is not regulated like the financial world. In the financial world, you always say warnings. What for me, my problem is that in this new Far West called NFT, you don't say to the people what are, I shall say, the dangers, if I can speak like that.
The problem goes beyond. The efforts of everyone, building new things and pushing the boundaries forward. It's clearly the beginning, but then the regulations needs to follow. Surprisingly, I think China is one of the first courts to admit blockchain as an evidence.
That's correct.
But it needs the metaverse is something global. So I think will require a lot of effort at many levels, at the institutional level, international coordination, in order to really push this forward. And then one of the always forgotten element in all the solutions that I see, NFT and not NFT, even cryptocurrencies like this, is the identity management. And you said it very clearly, Sylvain. You go in the smart contract and I want to prove that this guy sold me this, right? But today, we don't have these common identities. We need, there are countries advancing in decentralized identity and in self-sovereign identity. But eventually, we will have to use this in order to interact with each other in the metaverse. Before, that's why I was mentioning before that we are not there yet. I think companies, retailers, for example, will be able to offer a great experience once they are able to trade with and to connect with the identity of the customer. And with the solutions that are happening right now, for example, there is a nice initiative, a standard initiative built by Spain and with agreement now with Germany to test self-sovereign identity. If this or any other one succeed, we will be able not only to have trustable relationships, because we know that there is a trustable identity behind, but at the same time, we will be able to guarantee data ownership and privacy, because we will be able, for example, to use what is called zero knowledge proofs to prove, for example, that we have undergone through a KYC process and that we are able to start trading financial assets, or we will be able to prove that we have a driving license, but without having to show it, or things like that. So we are not there yet. For the moment, we have a lot of disconnected systems and everything. We need to work on that so everything can be glued together.
It's
I
a
can show
very
you
good
this.
point.
If you can see my screen, it's easier now. Okay.
And unfortunately, we can't really see it.
I mean, it's okay, but the thing here, this is the page of the NFT, right? And then you have the license here, which is something new that never existed before. And it says it's minted on SolSea, which means that you know where the mint comes from. But here is what Sylvain was talking about. Here, below the buy button, we have two messages. One message says, double check everything before you buy. And then there is a link, how to spot fakes. And then the second message is, read our terms and conditions before you buy. Because there, you know, you can get some sense of what you're actually buying. Because we got some complaints of people buying things, telling that, you know, like we were, you know, scammed. We bought an NFT that is not real. Can you imagine this? This is not the real ape. This is a fake ape. And then they said, and then we had to check it.
Vitomir, how are you able to check that if it's a fake or if it's real?
That's a long story. It's a myth.
With identity.
No, it's just a.
Guys, I mean, this is even more interesting than I thought it would be. So thank you very much for your enthusiasm, but we have to move on.
Sorry.
But it's very interesting because what you guys were saying about the need for digital and sovereign identity is absolutely critical. And I just want to connect this necessity to the actual numbers. I mean, and this is something that people don't necessarily realize, but let me just take one example, Fortnite. I am not a player myself, but Fortnite daily active users spend more time on Fortnite platform than daily active users of Netflix, Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram. So that just gives you an idea of the amount of people, 81 million people who are on Fortnite, although Fortnite itself does not really endorse the term metaverse yet. But just imagine if they were to open their ecosystem to a metaverse-like ecosystem, it would immediately open the gate to, you know, tens of thousands or millions of people who would join the platform overnight, which would obviously be a real. I mean, that would also cause some issues in terms of what exactly we are discussing now.
Jean-Luc, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
When you put these figures on the table, don't you think that these people believe that their virtual life is better than their life?
Probably. We would need to have a millennial.
So ask your question.
To answer that question.
Ask your question. Ask your question and come back. What is the core of any question? Is the human being.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about the mint. It's not about buying a Gucci. It's how today the human being is transformed. We are really experiencing the birth of a new human being. And you know, I have a grandson. He's 5 months old. He's capable to take the smartphone and to push on the buttons.
Yeah.
And so imagine the new human being, and then you will have answers to all your questions.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I can tell but it's not my personal experience, but my daughter, for example, it's an avid player of Roblox, and my son is an avid player of Fortnite, so it's in those numbers that you just throw on the table, Jean-Luc. And both of them, from my perspective, they have a healthy life because they are able to put time on that, but also they go out with friends, and they have a life out of the digital world, right? But I remember before summer, and obviously out of my professional activity, I asked my daughter about the Gucci bag, and because I was a bit surprised, right? And I said, would you buy this for Roblox? And she didn't hesitate. She said yes. So it's clear that
Pedro, because she has an avatar and she has to to dress
exactly
her avatar
exactly
to make a difference between her and the others by using the same codes that you are using in the real life when you buy a Gucci.
Yep. But for me, the revelation, and I totally agree with that, but the revelation was that for her, for me, I'm occasionally play to games, and it's nice to to dress your avatar and so on, but it's like okay, it's very occasional. But it was very surprising for me to feel how important was for her or how important is for her this virtual world. And so that's, I agree with you in that there is a clear transition, and new generations will will push this in
Pedro,
limited, we cannot.
Pedro, I don't want to to take the floor, but if you want to make this kind of cultural revolution, just change the word avatar by your digital twin, and you will totally understand what's happening today. From my point of view, it's just my point of view, and so forget the name avatar, and more think that you have in front of you.
I have to say, I kind of agree. Thank you very much for that, Sylvain.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I have one last question, because we have to wrap up. But before that, before this is supposed to be a futuristic conversation, we are in 2031, 10 years from now. I want to know, each of you, how do you see this conversation happening? Where do you see yourself and your respective business? And what do you think will, how do you think this metaverse conversation have evolved in the last in 10 years from now? Obviously, this is a very interesting question because Barbara and Reto can keep the record. So it's the moment to say something that will exist in the metaverse for the next generation to come. Maybe Vitomir would like to tell us how you see the situation in 10 years from now. Vitomir, you're on hold.
I'm muted, sorry. I wanted to say that I can't see a situation a month from now, not 10 years from now, in the way that these things are developing. I mean, I have no idea. Like anything that I say is just unimportant. I have literally no idea. I mean, whether we're gonna wear glasses and have all the holograms in our like everyday work, or is this gonna completely change the psychics of people like social media did? And like so many unknowns here, so many unknowns. I think that what we should do as players in this field, including everybody on this panel, I think is we should try to be good and do good, and know what is good, and try to find what is good, while playing the game of the world that the world is playing. Like in the last, I'll be short. There was a panel a couple of days ago that I also participated. I said, this is not great. Social media is not good. They wanted to change the world, and they created a mess. And we don't know what will happen with VR. We don't know what will happen with these NFTs. NFTs bring out the greed in people. You know, buying and selling of these things, it's all about money. So we need to try to kind of move the ship towards values instead of only money. That's not easy. So I don't know, to be honest. I have no idea. We're just trying to be better.
This is a fantastic point. Yeah, I agree. Good will take us somewhere. We don't know necessarily where, but good will take us somewhere. I love that. Pedro, Richemont.
Well,
on somewhere in 10 years.
Yes. in some years, I don't know if in 10 years from now we will be full in the metaverse. I think there will be still some barriers to break, but I think eventually we will be in what I call omniverse, which will be a set of metaverses plus the real world. We will have a specific metaverses for bureaucratic administration, for example, for entertainment, for shopping, for whatever. I think it removes I think it's the real digital experience, and I think we are going towards that experience. And yes, I agree, things can be done in a good way or in a bad way. Having a digital identity that can be recognized by everyone, it can be used to build a good reputation, for example, but it can be also good to control people. So we need to be careful, and I think as a society we need to think very well how we want to build this world, because it's our future world.
All right. Okay. And to finish with Sylvain, same question.
Thank you, Pedro, for what you said, because I think it will complete what I think. You know, I don't know what we will be, but I fear that we will be the world like 1984. I think that the way things are moving, unfortunately, I'm a little bit, I shall say, uncomfortable. And the only way to make things better is to bring humanity in technology. Technology has to serve art, has to serve humanity. And if we don't put at the core of all our projects, all our ideas, the human side, I think it will be 1984. I don't know if it will be in 10 years, in 5 years, in 20 years, but this is my hope, is that we still have discussions on the art and not just on technology, but on art. This is my only hope and my only response to this question.